Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MLFA Live. I'm your host, Robbie and I'm joined by Clark Vinton and Travis Oberlin. Let's jump right into reviewing Week 1 in the MLFA. First game that we had was the Battle Creek Coyotes traveling to the Michiana Thunderhawks, and the Thunderhawks came out on top 12-0. Our next game, we were in Detroit, where the Grand Rapids Thunder traveled to face the Michigan Renegades. In a low-scoring affair, the Renegades had a safety, and that was the only scoring in the game. 2-0, Renegades over the Thunder. And now we head to the Motor City, where the Motor City Jaguars hosted the Wayne County Bengals, and Wayne County continued its impressive streak with a 66-0 victory over the Jaguars. And now we'll head to Muncie, Indiana, where the Delaware County Rebels hosted the Allen County Lions and saw the Allen County Lions come up on top 20-6. And now we will head to Kentucky, where the Evansville Enforcers traveled to play the Kentucky Coal, and the Evansville Enforcers came out on top 36-12. All right, we are now going to travel to Denver, Indiana, where the Miami County Blitz hosted the Indy Assassins. The Blitz got their first victory of the season, winning 14-0. And now we'll head to Cedar Springs, where the Michigan Lightning traveled to play the West Michigan Hawks. The Lightning came out on top 48-14. And now we're going to head to Indianapolis, where the Marion County Crusaders hosted the Corydon Cavalry. The Crusaders came out on top 56-0. And in Greenwood, Indiana, the Tri-County Braves hosted the Indiana Cutters. The Braves continued their undefeated streak and their shutout streak, winning 23-0. And we head to Detroit, Michigan, where the Michigan Vipers hosted the Northwest Ohio Knights. The Vipers were victorious, 26-6. And in Louisville, the Kentucky Extreme hosted the Marion County Rockets. The Extreme had a big win, 38-6. And for our game of the week, the Toledo Thunder hosted the Indiana Cardinals. The Thunder became victorious with a 27-13 victory over the Cardinals. All right, folks, that was Week 3 of your MLFA action. Let's take a look at the rankings going into week number 4. Coming in at number 24, the Motor City Jaguars. At 23, the Corydon Cavalry. At 22, the Delaware County Rebels. At 21, the West Michigan Hawks. At number 20, the Grand Rapids Thunder. At 19, the Michigan Renegades. At 18, the Northwest Ohio Knights. At 17, the Kentucky Coal. At 16, the Indy Assassins. 15, the Miami County Blitz. At number 14, the Indiana Cutters. At number 13, the Marion County Rockets. At number 12, the Allen County Lions. At number 11, the Marion County Crusaders. Cracking the top 10, at number 10 was the Indiana Cardinals. At number 9, the Battle Creek Coyotes. At number 8, the Michiana Thunderhawks. At number 7, the Michigan Vipers. Coming in at number 6, the Wayne County Bengals. At number 5, the Kentucky Extreme. At number 4, the Evansville Enforcers. And the next 3 teams, we actually had a 3-way tie for first place, and the tiebreaker was the number 1 votes that each team got. So coming in at number 3, the Tri-County Braves. At number 2, the Toledo Thunder. And at number 1, the Michigan Lightning. Ladies and gentlemen, that was your rankings heading into Week 4 of the MLFA. Let's take a look at the standings for the 4 divisions in the 2 conferences.
In the North Conference, in the Lakeshore Division, atop the conference, 3-0, the Toledo Thunder. Also at 3-0, the Michigan Lightning. And at 2-0, the Michigan Vipers. In the Midwest Division, the top 3 teams, the Wayne County Bengals come in at 3-0, the Battle Creek Coyotes at 2-1, and the Michiana Thunderhawks are also 2-1.
In the South Conference, in the Grassroots Division, leading the Grassroots Division is the Tri-County Braves, a 3-0 record, followed by the Allen County Lions with 2 wins, 1 loss. The Miami County Blitz, Indiana Cardinals, Marion County Crusaders, and the Marion County Rockets sit at a 1-2 record, while the Delaware County Rebels, 0 wins, 2 losses. The last division in the South Conference, the Interstate Division, led with the Evansville Enforcers and the Kentucky Extreme at 3-0, followed by the Indiana Cutters and Indy Assassins at 1-2. The Cordon Cavalry, 0 wins, 3 losses, and the Kentucky Coal with an 0-2 record.
And that was your updated standings for the MLFA. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we are going to start to preview week number 4 in the MLFA. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to MLFA Live. Again, I'm your host, Robbie Hatton, joined by Clark Vinton and Travis Oberlin. Let's jump right into previewing week number 4 in the MLFA. We are going to start in Ligonier, Indiana, where the Indiana Cardinals travel to face the Michiana Thunderhawks. And Travis, you're the one that's got the information on this game. What do we got?
Well, the Indiana Cardinals, who were sitting in a 1-2 record. The interesting thing about the Indiana Cardinals, who started out so well in the 2014 season with an 8-0 record, is that they're not as bad as what they seem. 2 of the losses they've had this year came from 2 teams that have sat in the top 5. Of course, that is the Tri-County Braves and the Toledo Thunder, who are very valuable. They're 1 win against the Marion County Rockets, who are in the top 15. Now you look at it the other way around. For the Michiana Thunderhawks, they only had a 2-point loss to the Michigan Vipers in Game 1 that was on a neutral site at Battle Creek Central, and then a couple wins. A huge win against the West Michigan Hawks, who are lower down in the rankings, and then you talk about the Battle Creek Coyotes, who have struggled over the last 2 weeks offensively. But the Cardinals should look to get back on track against a Michiana Thunderhawks team that looks like they themselves feel like they have a chance to make a big run in this league.
Absolutely. All right, we are going to head to Detroit, Michigan, as the West Michigan Hawks travel to face the Motor City Jaguars. Clark, what kind of information you got for us on this?
Well, both teams coming into the game at 0-3. Not great offensively. The West Michigan Hawks are averaging 9 points a game this year, while the Motor City Jaguars are averaging 3. Both teams need to improve offensively. This is going to be a tight-matched game. It's going to be a game of wills. Which team wants it more? They got to eliminate turnovers offensively, play stout defense against one another, and it should be a good game to watch. It should be an evenly matched game.
All right. We are going to head to Grand Rapids, Michigan, where the Battle Creek Coyotes will travel to face the Grand Rapids Thunder. And Travis, give us some information on this game.
Like I said, the Battle Creek Coyotes, who have struggled primarily on the offensive end for the last 2 weeks, only putting up 8 points against Allen County and then 0 last week against the Michiana Thunderhawks, but their defense still stout as well. As you can see, the Battle Creek Coyotes has only given up 6 points to the West Michigan Hawks, 0 points to the Allen County Lions, and only 0 points came in that first half. Offensive productivity results in your defense being on the field for long periods of time. They're going to get tired, so that defense is absolutely stellar. And then for the Grand Rapids Thunder, besides their 1 win against the Motor City Jaguars, a 14-8 win, and we know Motor City Jaguars in that 20-plus drop down really low into the rankings, so not that valuable a team, and then getting beat 68-0 by the Wayne County Bengals, who are in the top 6. They're ranked at 6, and then the Michigan Renegades, they got shut out and had a safety put against them. That was a 2-0 loss against the Michigan Renegades. I do see a big outstorm for the Coyotes, who again have just lost themselves offensively, but against a team like the Grand Rapids Thunder this week, the offensive struggle should end, and the defensive powerhouse and the Coyotes, it should be close to another shutout for them. So I'm looking for a big week for the Coyotes.
All right. We are going to head to Fort Wayne, Indiana, where the Marion County Rockets will travel to face the Allen County Lions. And Clark, give us some information on this game.
This is the 4th straight road game for the Marion County Rockets. They're getting all 4 out of the way very early. They're playing well. They're 1-2 right now. They have a win against the Cavalry, a 48-0 shutout. Came off a 6-38 loss last week against the Extreme. Extreme proving themselves as a very good team in this league. For the Lions, they're 2-1. They're quietly a better defense in this league. They're only averaging giving up 5 points a game. They're 2-1 right now with wins over the Knights and the Rebels, and their one loss came to the Coyotes, which was an 8-0 loss. Another stout defensive performance for them. They've got a very athletic quarterback, Janory Smith. I think this game's going to ride a lot on his heels, how well he plays. If he can be efficient, eliminate turnovers, and continue to be an athletic quarterback in the pocket, then I think this will be a fun game to watch. Evenly ranked, 12 and 13 in the rankings. Should be another close matchup.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to continue to preview Week 4 in the MLFA.
Are Coyote tickets really the best deal in town? Is a coach's meeting on an empty stomach a bad idea?
Okay, so linebackers, make sure you're reading your keys, and you got to come off our key contain. Really? Again? Showing up late? And you! On your phone? Why you always gotta be talking?
Robbie, chill. You act like Mike Payton because you're hungry. Have a Snickers. Better?
Yup. So as I was saying, make sure you keep containment. Tackles, make sure you pinch. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to MLFA Live. Let's jump right back into previewing week number 4, and we're going to go to the Battle of Toledo as the Northwest Ohio Knights will travel to face the Toledo Thunder. And Travis, give us some information on this Battle of Toledo.
Well, two different sides of the spectrum. Northwest Ohio Knights, surprisingly, very good defensively. I know the scores seem it's about a 2 to 3 touchdown differential every time they play, but against the Allen County Lions, the Michigan Lightning, the Vipers. The Lightning and the Vipers are in the top 10 of the league. The Vipers are number 7, and the Lightning have been number 1 since it's been a long time, since the preseason rankings for this year. And then for the Toledo Thunder, who have obviously proved themselves with a last week victory against the Indiana Cardinals, a 27-13 win. Then you look at their scores, 45-0 win over the Miami County Blitz, and a 54-0 win in week number 2 against the Motor City Jaguars. And granted, the Blitz and the Jaguars haven't showed themselves, but again, that win over the Indiana Cardinals really set themselves in that number 2 spot in the rankings. I expect another big performance from the Toledo Thunder. I believe, like the Battle Creek Coyotes, there's only so much time you can spend on the defensive end before your team gets tired, gets wore out. This is the problem with the Northwest Ohio Knights. They put up 6 points in 3 weeks. Expect another big week from the Toledo Thunder.
All right, let's head to Kentucky as the Kentucky Coal will host the Tri-County Braves. And Clark, give us the deets on this game.
Tri-County Braves coming in at 3-0, number 3 in the rankings, playing the Coal, who are 17 in the rankings right now, and 0-2. They came off a loss last week against the Enforcers, a great team in this league. They lost 36-12. They're giving up too many points per game. They're allowing 34. That puts a big challenge on your offense to try and outscore teams when your defense can't get a stop. For the Braves, on the other hand, 3 straight shutouts, 3 straight games that Lamont Osborne has run for over 100 yards. Those two things will lead to victories no matter who you're playing. If you can have a consistent rushing attack and a stout defense, you're hard to beat. They're only averaging 24 points a game because they had that tough matchup in the first week against the Cardinals where they won 6-0. But they've been playing well all season, and I think it'll continue to show in this matchup.
And now we're going to head to Muncie, Indiana, where the Cordon Cavalry will travel to play the Delaware County Rebels. Travis, what can you tell us about this game between two teams who are sitting at 0-3 right now?
Yeah, and the two teams combined have put up 6 points total through 3 weeks. So really, we don't know what to expect from both these two teams. The one thing I can say with the Cordon Cavalry, while all 3 of those margins of victory, they've put up 0 points. And they've been huge, but they have played the Evansville Enforcers, the Marion County Crusaders, who are outside the top 10 currently, but again, I believe they are a top 10 team by the end of the season. And then the Marion County Rockets, who are sitting at number 13. You look at the Rebels, the Tri-County Braves, that was a 0-42 loss for the Rebels. The Kentucky Coal will make up that game August 1st. They led that game 26-0. So it doesn't. These two teams, the reason why they haven't won a game is because offensively they just can't produce. And their defense is just giving up way too many points because their offense can't produce. This is going to be I don't know if fun ball game, but it's going to be close. And don't know what to expect. To toss them up in the air, and it's anybody's ball game.
All right. Well, let's head to Detroit, Michigan, where the Michigan Renegades are traveling to face the Michigan Lightning. And Clark, give us what you got in this game.
The Renegades are coming off their first win of the season. They're 1-1. It was a 2-0 win over the Grand Rapids Thunder. So that means for their 2 games, they're averaging 1 point per game. I don't know if I've ever seen a statistic like that before.
That's impressive.
Yeah. For the Lightning, they finally had a good offensive showing. You know, we expected more from them in the first 2 weeks of the season, where they only scored 21 against the Crusaders and 14 against the Knight. They scored 48 against the Hawks. That's more than what we were looking to see out of an offense that has potential to be very explosive. The defense is still playing well. They gave up 14 points to the Hawks, but through the course of the season, they're only giving up 9 points per game. I think this is going to be a good matchup. The Lightning will probably be too dominant in this matchup. I think they're going to continue to roll. I think that offense will continue to play well, and look for a good win for the Lightning here.
Yeah, we talked about the Lightning last week. They definitely exploded. And you talk about the 14 points, and that comes off. You're already up by so many points.
Correct.
You get in and you bring up your bench players. But it's
Correct.
like you said last week, even Robbie, he's like, you just got to get that offensive explosion coming.
Yep.
And they finally did. I think that just kind of loosens and gets them out and
Yep.
kind of frees them up offensively.
Yep, and will get them in a rhythm
Yeah.
for the rest of the season.
Exactly.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to preview the last 4 games of the MLFA.
Are Coyote tickets really the best deal in town? Is getting touchdown celebrations from linemen a bad idea?
Yeah, Marcus, I need at least 14 touchdowns out of you this year, man. At least 14 touchdowns.
Okay, 14 touchdowns. I think I really need to think of some touchdown celebrations, though. I got you. Okay, what you got? Take notes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going on a trip in our favorite rocket ship. Zooming through the sky. Little Einstein. Climb aboard. Get ready to explore. There's so much to find. Little Einstein. We're going up.
No, I would really find myself for that. Let's be serious.
Rev it up now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MLFA Live weekly show. I am Robbie Hatton, joined by Clark Vinton and Travis Oberlin. We have 4 games left to preview in Week 4. And our first game, we're going to head to Indianapolis, Indiana, where the Miami County Blitz is traveling to play the Marion County Crusaders. And Travis, you got this game for us this week. What do we got?
I do. They're both 1-2 coming into the season. The Miami County Blitz finally got that win that you've been asking for. The tough team that
Don't sleep on the Blitz.
Don't sleep on the Blitz. They did 14-0 win against the Indy Assassins. So it was a shutout win. That's a good statement game for the Blitz, who are trying to find some credibility up into the rankings. And then for the Marion County Crusaders, you've heard me talk about it week after week. They are that team. They just find a way to grind. They have that inconsistency flow about them. That 12-21 loss against the Michigan Lightning in week number 1, sloppy as it may be, especially due to the conditions that were brought on by rain. And then the Kentucky Extreme, a 32-26 loss. That game was at home. The Michigan Lightning game was a neutral site again at Battle Creek Central, and then their first win against the Cordon Cavalry, a 56-0 win. So, but those 2 teams that they had faced against the Michigan Lightning and the Kentucky Extreme, and by the way, if you look at the Marion County Crusaders schedule all the way down through, they got plenty of matchups they got to face on the road inside the top 15, top 10.
Very tough schedule.
So they're going to be hit with some adversity over the season. Don't sleep on the Blitz, but I believe the Crusaders find a way to slowly pull themselves away and take a good margin of victory in this game, because I do believe that the Crusaders are a top 10 team. I said top 5 earlier and probably in week 1, the first show that we had, but as we kind of look at the teams that are starting to develop now, I don't know if there's certainly that top 5 team. We'll find out. But in the top 10 nonetheless, maybe top 7, top 8. So I find them, a good enough margin of victory, but the Blitz find a little bit way to hang on. It'll be a good game nonetheless. So,
Absolutely. All right, we're staying in Indianapolis this time, as the Indiana Cutters are traveling to face the Indy Assassins. Clark, what can you tell us about the Battle of Indiana?
According to the rankings, another evenly matched game. The Cutters coming in at number 14 and the Assassins coming in at number 16. Both teams are 1-2 right now. The Cutters came off a loss for last week where they were shut out by the Braves 23-0, and the Assassins were also shut out last week to the Miami County Blitz 14-0. What the Cutters need is for their quarterback to play efficiently. They need quarterback play as a whole. They had quarterback by committee in week 2, and they beat the Blitz 30-6, and they need efficient play like that again, where the quarterbacks account for 3 touchdowns, no turnovers, close to 250 yards. Quarterback play like that will get you wins in this league. For the Assassins, they need to keep improving on the run defense. If they can limit the rush yards that the other team gets, it'll take down on the wear and tear on their defense. They're going to have to put up more points if they expect to win. They're only averaging 14 points per game right now. Both teams need to step it up offensively. I think this will be a great game to watch. They're evenly matched, and it should come down to a close one on the scoreboard.
All right, let's head to Detroit, Michigan, as the Michigan Vipers will travel to face the Wayne County Bengals. And Travis, what can you tell us about the game of the week?
This is going to be awesome, in my opinion, personally. The Vipers, who went out in an offensive strike against the Michiana Thunderhawks, only a 2-point win, but the performance by their quarterback and Christopher Arnold Mickles, and they had basically a bye in week 2. That game will be made up later on in the season, and then the week 3 win against Northwest Ohio Knights, who have proven to be defensively sound, is what we've kind of all talked about, but it was still a 26-6 win for the Michigan Vipers. And then the Wayne County Bengals, they haven't let up a point all season. I know, look at the teams, the Michigan Renegades, the Grand Rapids Thunder, and the Motor City Jaguars. But when you're putting up, even in week 2, week 3, Grand Rapids Thunder, Motor City Jaguars, a total of 134 points. I know it's the lower teams on the schedule, but just keep coming week after week and putting up these type of performances offensively. I know despite the teams that are lower down in the rankings, it's impressive. So I'm looking to see two teams who have proven themselves offensively so far to go out and just perform exceptionally. The Wayne County Bengals, they haven't played anybody that has been offensively dominant. So we're going to see, of course, this is where their 3 consecutive weeks of not allowing a point comes to an end, because the Michigan Vipers, I believe, and that quarterback, Christopher Arnold Mickles, is an absolute, he's an absolute powerhouse on an offensive end. So the Wayne County Bengals, they're going to be tested defensively and offensively, just the type of team that the Michigan Vipers are. But we've also seen from the Michigan Vipers that they can give up points just as easily, just like the Michiana Thunderhawks put up 40 on them. And against the Northwest Ohio team that doesn't have a really strong offense, they only put up 6, so they didn't really get their defense tested there. But we know what they're all about. So we're going to see adversity from both teams and see who can hang on. This will be a fantastic game of the week, in my opinion. So.
No, for sure. All right, the last game of the MLFA this week was the Evansville Enforcers and the Kentucky Extreme. And due to some field issues and the tropical storm, this game has been postponed until August 1st. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to get into our social media segment of the show where we're going to answer some of your questions. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to MLFA Live. We are getting to the point in our show where we're going to do a social media a bit where we asked you guys, ask some questions on our Facebook page. We'll answer those questions or we'll talk about it a little bit. Obviously, we don't have enough time to talk about everybody's question or answer everybody's questions. But we do have one question in, I believe. So,
question from Zach Teagan. Which game or games happening in Week 4 carry the biggest playoff implications?
That's a good one. I think there's a couple matchups on the schedule this week. And honestly, the biggest matchup for playoff implications this week for me is the Allen County Lions and the Marion County Rockets. If you look at the grassroots division, it's tied up right now. You have the Braves at 3-0. the Lions at 2-1, and everybody else except for the Rebels are at 1-2. This is a big shakeup in the potential standings or who's going to make the playoffs. How the playoff system works is the top team gets a bye, 2 and 3 face each other in kind of like a play-in game to see who goes in. So wide open.
The Lions for sure, because if they start out 3-1, Crusaders are at 1-2. I mean, that's a team that I feel like has the biggest push. So the Lions can get out, get 3 wins, 3-1.
It'd be
That's
huge
pretty
to
huge.
get those wins right away.
Yeah.
It'd be huge because you still have the Cardinals, who are very dangerous, a very dangerous football team. Looking ahead at their schedule, I can't see the Cardinals losing more than 3 games.
Yeah, their last 3 opponents are one of the lower right now is below 17 ranking, or in the below half of the 17 ranking. So like 8 spots or 7 spots separating them from the bottom spot, the 24th ranking spot, and those games are all at home too.
Right.
So the Cardinals, I was just looking at the Cardinals have it once they get out of this next couple weeks of the stretch. It's pretty easy peasy for them.
And I think that matchup that the Cardinals are in this week with the Thunderhawks is another big matchup for postseason implications. The Thunderhawks are a good team playing well right now. I think they'll be dangerous no matter who they play. We've seen them play right with the Vipers in week 1, where it came down to a 2-point conversion that they had the chance of tying the ball game up. I think that with the Cardinals, they look for more consistent play, but like you said, they're not a team that's you should not expect them to lose very many more games down the stretch. So this one right here is a big one to put one or the other in a better spot right now for the playoff push.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a big week for the Thunderhawks as well. I mean, if they want to have that number 2 spot in the Midwest Division, even though they did beat the Coyotes head-to-head, they've got to. It's still going to come down to wins and losses. And if the Thunderhawks want to keep that number 2 spot in the division, they're going to have to win the big games. And this is a big game for them.
It's big time too. I mean, if the Thunderhawks as well. I mean, you just talked about it against a Cardinals team who shows against the opponents they've played 2 out of 3 opponents inside the top 5. This is huge. Plus, they're at home. And if you looked at the last 3 weeks too, 29% of the teams that have played on the road have lost. 71% of them have won. But one of the other ideal teams that I think, just because they haven't been hit with the top tier opponents, is the Wayne County Bengals. The Wayne County and the Michigan Vipers. Okay, the Michigan Vipers have had 1 week off. Again, they're going to make that game up later on August 1st in the season. But if you look at the Wayne County Bengals, they haven't played. They haven't played top tier opponents right now. Right. And so if they take on the Vipers and they put up another solid offensive performance and take down the Vipers, they're sitting at 4-0,
Right.
and at least they got one team on their resume inside the top 10. The Vipers at number 7. They have that advantage and that offense, just the confidence level. I'm telling you, this team's putting up 60 points. I know the type of teams that we're playing, but I'm just saying, you can go into a game and you could talk about, man, we're gonna, that oversight. You're getting overconfident in the mental state. I know it's the teams are not ideal for playoff implications, but just to put up that many amount of points, and then the Vipers, you know who they are. They can put up points. Just their defense that we need to see. And that's the thing. If Vipers win and we see a solid defensive performance, it's either the Wayne County Bengals weren't exactly who we thought they were, or the Vipers are that good on the offensive defense side.
That's what this game has to prove, is if the Vipers can beat someone who's riding a hot streak right now at 3-0, and if the Bengals are the real deal.
And on the road, the Vipers on the road, Bengals are at home too. So if the Vipers can pull off that win on the road, and then we can see week by week how good the Bengals were. Because their schedule's going to get way tougher.
Both teams can send a real big statement with a win here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this is Bengals. You are officially on the clock. This is your week to either say we're here, we're going to be a contender in the MLFA, or we're not.
And we're looking at
you're on the clock.
We're looking at two or three teams this week that are not separated by 4 ranking spots. Every single team in the league, the games this week, besides 2 or 3, are separated. Are in
real close together.
Yeah, in the rankings. Yep. 4 spots, within 4 spots of that. So this is going to be a week where everyone is we're going to find them how they're going to be shaped out come week after week number 4, coming into week number 5. We'll see. So it'll be interesting this week. It's going to be fun to see the results of these scores.
Absolutely,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Our last question comes from Matthew Riddle. Who are the top 3 position players at each position?
That's a good one. But here's the thing. Riddle, that's a good question, man. I would love to be able to do that if each team would send in stats. without anybody A, sending in film, B, sending in stats. It's hard for the panel to know who is the top 3 at each position. I will say from the teams that have sent in stats, at the quarterback position, Tanner Day for the Tri-County Braves is putting up decent numbers.
Very consistent.
Protecting the football. In 3 games I haven't seen a
Managing
turnover.
drives. He's getting the job done. So yeah.
Nothing gaudy kind of stats. At the running back position, we can't look any further than Lamont Osborne. 3 straight games with 100 yards.
4 touchdowns a week, too.
Yeah. Agreed.
He's been the most consistent back in the league, yardage-wise.
Yep. Absolutely. And then you have Michael Curry from the Lightning.
That's another one.
Who is
electric runner.
Absolutely.
Short, stocky, just has that
powerful run.
It's just like that original running back kind of form that you've seen over the last decade.
He's one of those guys
yeah.
When he gets the ball, you never know what's going to happen. He could score on any play.
Hits the hole hard.
For sure. And then at wide receiver, you got Devington Halliburton from the Coyotes. Through 5 games, he's got 11 touchdowns.
Speed.
So
another one of those players that he's fun to watch whenever he touches the ball. You know what to expect. Expect something fun to see, something exciting, because he'll stiff arm. We saw some great stiff arms. He'll juke and he's fast once he gets in the open field.
Yeah, took the words right out of my mouth. Once he's in the open field, especially in special teams, again, and he had the 63-yard touchdown called away from him last week.
Right.
That could have been one of the touchdowns for the Coyotes. But the dude, like you said, when he's in open field, his speed. He's got agility. His cutback. He's in open
good
field.
Vision.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another one of those guys that literally could be one of the fastest guys in the league, or quickest guys, I should say, too.
Yep.
And then we look at the defensive side of the ball. You look at the Lightning. They have Jerron Embry, who was a player of the week. You have Eric Butler, who is another phenomenal player. You can look at the Braves, who have Dante Yates II. You can look at the Cardinals, who have Marvin Davis.
All playing well.
You can look at the Coyotes, who have Quentin Kaiser and Mike Page.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that talk about defensively, and I actually think everybody I just named was linebackers. So
yeah,
I honestly think everybody I just named
well,
is a linebacker.
There's been a lot of defensive backs thriving. There's been a lot of interceptions, and there was one week where a team had four defensive touchdowns. I think it was the Thunder, maybe. Yeah, 4 defensive touchdowns, 5 interceptions in week 1 for the Thunder. So
absolutely,
shout out to their whole defense.
Right.
Yeah, and there's a lot of names to be recognized. Like I said, with the stats being brought in. There's a lot of times where we see these scores where and we hear. They're not official, but we hear some of the guys where they're saying they did this or they did like that. Well, it would be awesome, but they got to be official.
Get us your stats.
They got to be sent in.
Get us your stats.
We got to have them, guys. All right, so we're done with our social media part of the show. We're gonna get into the fun part. We have a little bit of fun. We're gonna get into our weekly pick'ems. So last week, Travis did make Clark kind of eat some crow a little bit. He
kind of gathering, not much.
He gained a couple points.
There.
He went 4-1 last week, where Clark went 3-2. The points wise, Clark has 15 points. Travis has 12. So that's kind of our review of the pick'ems. Let's get right into this week. I'm gonna go with let's start off in Muncie, Indiana. We have the Cordon Cavalry and the Delaware County Rebels. Clark, you're going first.
Toss-up game.
6 points combined.
Right. It's going to be a battle of wills. Who wants it more? I'm sure both teams want it a ton. So hope for a great football game. In this one, I'm going to take the Delaware County Rebels.
I'll agree. They're the ones with 6 points, and they're at home. Again, 71% of the time. Teams have won at home. And like I said, Cordon Cavalry, they've been out. There are over 100 points that they've put up, or that they've allowed, and they haven't scored a point. So I like Delaware at home.
Personally, I think there's some strength in numbers. The Cordon Cavalry, they have a big roster. They're young, but they got a 40-plus man roster, where the Rebels, they're just over 20. So I think you both are going to be wrong there.
Guess we'll see.
Just pointing that out there. All right, let's head to Indianapolis, where the Indiana Cutters travel to face the Indy Assassins. And Travis, I'm going to let you take the lead.
Well, both teams. The one point I will say, it's another close matchup, 14 versus 16. Again, a lot of these teams in this week, this is Absolutely. Like I said, it's a lot of them that are just so close. The Indy Assassins, they're at home. The Cutters are on the road. And I know it's all about strategy and positions and how you put it together. But just from what I've seen Statistically, and what we've seen from the records, the Cutters had a 30-6 win against the Miami County Blitz, and the Indy Assassins were shut out by the Blitz last week, 14-0. So I'm going to take the Cutters on the road over the Assassins this week.
You said it all yourself, partner. I agree totally. The Cutters are going to come out victorious in this game. They look to be the better team throughout. Both teams have to play better offensively, eliminate turnovers. But good game. I like the Cutters.
Absolutely. All right. We are going to head to Fort Wayne, Indiana, where the Marion County Rockets will travel to play the Allen County Lions. Clarky, go ahead and who do you got?
I like the Allen County Lions in this matchup. I like the athleticism of their quarterback, Janory Smith. He's fun to watch. He's a player that can, if coverage breaks down, or if coverage is tight downfield and the pocket breaks down, he can make a play with his feet. I think that they've also proved themselves defensively. They've only given up 5 points per game right now. I think that says a lot about their defense. A bit of an underrated defense, and I like the Allen County Lions in this matchup.
Yeah, they were tested against the Better Creek Coyotes, and what you said about Janory Smith, still got to, questioning the ability to throw downfield, but like I said, once he breaks into space, kind of like Raymond Jacobs for the Thunderhawks, kind of just when you see the open field, he's able to bounce and move. Question some of the teams that they've played, but the same could be said about the Rockets. But the Lions defense, yeah, I mean, they put up, I know the Coyotes have struggled, but they have a lot of speed on that team, and a team that can break out, there's no doubt they're just finding a troubled way. I like the Lions as well. I think that defense steps up at home against the Rockets. Rockets play a team that most teams, when they come in and play the Lions, because of the points that they put up, but their defense, that's where it's at. And Janory, like I said, Janory Smith, like you said, he's able to run most effective, especially, in between hash marks. It's pretty impressive. Once he hits the hole, then he's able to go out in the outside edges and create space. So I like the Lions as well.
All right. Let's head to Ligonier, Indiana, where we have the Michiana Thunderhawks hosting the Indiana Cardinals. Travis.
Well, I'm going to go with the Cardinals on the road against the Michiana Thunderhawks. I like the teams that the Cardinals have played this year. They've been tested for sure. 6-0 against the Tri-County Braves. That was on the road. Home against the Marion County Rockets. That was a 28-6 win. And then another team inside the top 5, along with the Tri-County Braves, they were also on the road against the Toledo, 13-27. So they've had their fair of 2 games this season against top 5 foes where they've been on the road, and it's primarily been close. I know the Cardinals scored in one of the final seconds against the Toledo Thunder, but like I said, the Toledo Thunder is one of those teams, again, that's breaking out. I didn't know defensively I had them in them, but the Cardinals are struggling a little bit offensively, but just I feel like they've been on the road enough. And then with the Thunderhawks against the Vipers, it was impressive. Again, the Vipers, you just don't know about that defense. That's what questioned me. They're offensively sound. So defensively, you're not sure what they're looking for. And the West Michigan Hawks teams, a couple teams like the Coyotes have routed them. And then the 12-0 win against the Better Creek Coyotes, finally getting double digits against a Coyotes team. I think the Cardinals on the road, but tight matchup. I think the Cardinals, again, just the fact that they've been on the road twice this season against top 5 teams. I like the Cardinals to edge out Michiana.
Well, I'm going to take the Thunderhawks in this matchup, and I'm going to I'll say that I like their quarterback play. I like Raymond Jacobs. I like the way he plays. I like his style, and I think it'll translate big in this game. The Cardinals, I'm hearing what you're saying with their matchups and the strength of the team that they're playing, but they just worry me. They seem to be inconsistent. They're a hard team for me to pick right now. I hope that they can establish themselves as a consistent team from here on out. But I am going to go with the Thunderhawks in this matchup. I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be close. It'll be a mid-level scoring game, but it should be a fun one to watch.
I do like one thing I will point out. If it is anywhere close down to the final seconds, the Michiana Thunderhawks and Tom Martinez, their kicker. Now, we saw in the there was an attempt. They got called back on a penalty against the Coyotes in last week, where he showed off after the penalty, after he kicked it through, went short, but just going out on a tee. And I went out and actually recorded because as an attendant, I was at that game. Kicked a 52-yard field goal and he could have kicked it from 60. I mean, he was doing it consistently too. I mean, this dude has an absolute boost. So if it comes down anywhere close, 40-yard, 30-yard field goal, it's for most part, it's money.
Right. It's a
I
great.
mean, so it is a great value
Yeah.
for teams that don't have that
Great
in the league.
asset to have.
It is. I mean, so I mean, I don't know how well you got the offensive line, how well they're going to block, hold up, and whatnot. But I'm saying if you give them time within about 30 to 40 yards, I mean, the dude's got a well enough leg in Martinez to hit a field goal, and that could be the difference. So
It's a great weapon to have that a lot of people forget about.
All right, let's go to the game of the week. Worth 2 points. And we're going to be in Detroit, Michigan. The Wayne County Bengals are hosting the Michigan Vipers. Clark, I'm going to let you go first.
Again, maybe I favor the quarterbacks, but I'm going to go with the Vipers in this game because of quarterback Arnold Mickles. He's fun to watch. He can do it with his legs and his feet. He busted off a couple good runs in Week 1 against the Thunderhawks that we got to see, and then also he did it through the air as well. He had a couple passing touchdowns through the air. I like his versatility at the quarterback position. They will need to get some stops defensively. And hold a Wayne County Bengals team that's scoring through the roof right now. They're gonna have to prove that they can shut down that offense. But I like them to do that, and I think that the Vipers will come out on top in this game.
yeah, I'm gonna use the same theory I used in Week 1 and Week 2 with the extreme. And when I said that, I said, well, you gotta be they gotta prove something to me.
Mm-hmm.
And even so much, I'm really contemplating picking Wayne County. I'm actually, for the first time this week, I'm going to agree with you on our game of the week because I have been a fan of Christopher Arnold Nichols. The last 2 weeks, I thought he'd have an offensive explosion. They won 26-6 over Northwest, and then the performance we just saw when we were there in Battle Creek Central against a Michiana Thunderhawks team, which is, for the most part, they're well-rounded. I mean, they're pretty good defensively, but I mean, like I said, the kid, especially in Week 1, he just threw off his. More than 75% of his passes were on the run, off 1 foot, and he was throwing strikes. And he's got skill players. They got Vipers are another team that's just fast, like the Coyotes we were talking about, just a fast team. When they get in the open field and not right off the ball, they're able to find ways to get open. And Mickles has got a well enough arm. He's so accurate, and he's got the arm downfield to do it as well. So for all it is to me, and I know they're on the road. But for the Vipers, or for the Bengals, they just got to prove something to me this week. And despite how fantastic I see them scoring 60 points the last 2 weeks and just riding these teams, they got to play a team that they're finally going to in the top 7, 6 for 7. It's going to be an awesome matchup. But I think the Vipers, as we hit the second half, a little bit more of that experience, especially at the quarterback position, which it does mean everything. You say right in the quarterback's hot hand, of course you will. I mean, he's got the experience and he's got the skill. He's got serious skill to throw, not only from the pocket, but outside the pocket. And you know how it is. A lot of teams in this league, we see offensive line issues are one of the problems we see around the league. And if you can get outside the pocket and make throws on the run, you're good to go.
Nice.
So I like the Vipers. I like the Vipers as well. But Wayne County, I'd love to see it close because I'd love to see them.
I hope they prove themselves.
I do
I hope they're
because
another
I
great
want
team
to
in
see
this
them. I mean,
league.
putting up 60 points, but I think high scoring battle once again. I know that they haven't played the teams, but they gotta have an offense obviously to put up these type of points. And then for the Michigan Vipers, they do too with Christopher Arnold Nichols. It's just that defense. That'll be an interesting to point out too.
All right, let's get into our upset pick of the week. And Clark, who is your upset pick of the week this week?
Well, I'm going to double up and say that my Michigan Vipers pick over the Bengals is my upset.
Okay.
It's one spot in the rankings, but there's so many evenly matched games this week. It made it hard again to pick an upset. Each team is playing differently and has a different aspect that they work for. But I like the Vipers in my upset pick.
All right. And your upset pick of the week?
I'm going to sit the Indiana Cardinals and double up as well over the Michiana Thunderhawks. Like I said, I think the Indiana Cardinals have played their top 5 2 weeks opponents. I think one of the things the Coyotes do last week that I think the Indiana Cardinals should also emulate is that we saw them, for the most part, they stacked up pretty well in the box 7, trying to get after Jacobs because he was pretty much the only man that they really saw on the field that could pose a threat until you saw Jordan Coley out of that second half, which he had 3 runs that set up a 38-yard touchdown. But I think the Indiana Cardinals do have that experience again against the teams that they played. So I like the Cardinals. I'll double up.
All right, let's get into our blowout pick of the week. And like I said, blowout pick is you are predicting them to win by 21 points or more. Travis, who's your blowout pick this week?
Seems like me and Clark always alternate on this because I picked him in week 1, he picked him in week 2. I'm gonna go back to the Michigan Lightning. I think they're home against a Michigan Renegades team. They won 2-0. Last week against the Grand Rapids Thunder, pick up their first win. The Lightning, you know who they are. Number 1 in the league. They just, last week, they finally got offense generating 40-plus points. And you know that that defense brings to the table. I think another week where the Michigan Lightning play another team where they haven't found a team yet to play that's really, yeah, exactly. They haven't found a team since. So I'm going to go back to Lightning this week.
All right.
Well, another favorite pick for blowout week. I like the Toledo Thunder over the Northwest Ohio Knights. They put up a lot of points offensively. They're explosive. 45 in week 1, 54 in week 2. They haven't played great opponents, but offensively they put up points, and that's what we're looking for here. So I like the Thunder over the Knights by plenty.
I'll be intrigued too, though, for the Northwest Ohio Knights if they're able to hold Toledo like under 30
they
against
held
the Michigan
Lightning to 14
Vipers,
points.
and they held the Michigan Vipers 26. So
you only need 21.
That's so. I think you'll be fine there. I think it will be more than 21 as well.
All right, fans. Well, thank you for tuning in to MLFA Live. We'll see you next week.